Everything really builds upon itself. And I think that having a clear purpose in a clear direction of where you want to go with your life and your business is really the foundation of this tool that I was taught. And that's what I want to kind of transition into a little bit, because
Yeah, let's
I
do it.
really want to add some value to the audience, and see if we can give them something that they can use. So this is something that I learned from my personal mentor, and it's this tool called the Ideal Week. And what this is where you take time when you have some free time, and you basically look at a full week calendar. You could look at a Google Maps calendar or something, and you look at an entire blank sheet, right? 168 hours available, right? Monday through Sunday. And just at least put blocks in for different things that you believe are going to be important for you if you're going to reach your goal. So this is based upon your goals, your purpose statement, like what it is that you feel like you're called to do in your business, what you want to accomplish. And you look at a week. A week's important because a month might be a little bit too long in order to do that, and a day may be a little bit too short, but a week is that sweet spot, because you have 7 days, right? And 168 hours that you can really decide what it is that you want to accomplish. And then you say, okay, I'm going to devote this amount of time to my business. You can look at your schedule, all of the different things that you have going on, whether it's your family, whether it's your personal stuff, whether it's your work that you're currently doing, if you have a job, and you see, where are there times in my schedule that I can devote towards pushing my business forward? What are times in my schedule that I can push towards going after my goal? And the thing about the Ideal Week is it's ideal, right? There are going to be times where things kind of get out of whack. You may have to compromise some of the things that you put on your schedule, but at least it gives your mind a vision of what the most productive week that you can have, and the things that you know that you can do. And even if you get knocked off course, maybe you have a meeting that went a little longer than you wanted it to be. Maybe there was an emergency with your child at school. Maybe there was, something that happened that kind of threw you off, that allowed for you to really maximize that time. But it gives you a track, because I think sometimes we're just kind of in a treadmill and we're just doing things for the sake of doing it, and there's no real strategic vision that we're trying to accomplish. And I think that's why having a vision for your week, right, that kind of says where you have where this is the block that I'm giving towards making calls, making sales. Maybe this is the time that I'm giving towards organizing my business. This is the time that I'm giving towards whatever it is that you need to do in order to accomplish your goal. So you really are reverse engineering. You have a goal, and then you're saying, okay, what does my week have to look like in order for me to reach that goal? What are your thoughts on that concept of an ideal week?
Yeah, it's something similar that I learned for when I started in the business is time blocking. So for sales, I would have time blocked from 8:30 to 11:30, and that was when I would make my outbound calls. So that means any client that calls me to follow up or to schedule an appointment, they would go to voicemail. And part of my voicemail would say, hey, this is when I answer calls, and this is when I will get back to you this afternoon. And I set that expectation, and it allowed me that time frame to really just call. And then I would have time blocked where I would be returning calls. And I would have time blocked where I would be going on showing appointments, where I would show homes either at 3 p.m. or 5 p.m. Now, like you said, it's not a hard and fast rule. Sometimes you have to make adjustments, but your adjustments shouldn't be adjusting just for the sake of adjusting. It's adjusting because maybe somebody has a separate issue with their work or something like that. Make adjustments where, like during the summer, I will show properties at 6 or 7 o'clock during the summer, because that is our longest daylight period where, it's still daylight out at 8 o'clock. So time blocking is something that I used and found it to be very useful. Even if you got off track one day, you
Right.
could get back on track the next day. The thing that I had to learn is not to beat myself up. Because you beating yourself up, that's taking up more time.
That's taking up more time. Exactly. It's so unproductive.
Yeah.
Because you could get to this, and that's the thing that we have to understand when it comes to these types of things that we do, these strategies that we implement. They're meant to be tools for us to serve us in helping us get our goal, and they're not meant to be prisons, right? You're not in prison to your schedule. Your schedule is there to help you to get towards your goals, and we all fall short, right? We all fall short of the glory of God. We all make mistakes. We all have times when we're not feeling our best. Sometimes you may need to take a rest, right? Just even though you should be doing this, sometimes you are not in the mental space where you can actually do that effectively, and maybe it could be time where you need to adjust. But the idea of having these things in place are there for to serve as a track for you, that when you get off course, you just jump right back in, and then you get back into the rhythm. Because when you build these rhythms and these habits, it's going to begin to compound, right? Where something that once was difficult for you, because the thing I think we don't understand about anything in business, whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's growing a business, leading a team, anything, these are skills that you have to learn.
Yeah.
Right? These are not just something that you just know out of just based off of, and these are not skills that they taught you in school.
Yeah, unless you grew up in like a military family or a really regiment type family where they had like really solid scheduling, which is what maybe 1% of people operate that way and throughout life. I mean, even the president of the United States has a schedule and has hundreds of people around him to make sure he stays on schedule. Guess what? He gets off schedule sometimes. So, and this is supposed to be the leader of the free world, and he gets off schedule sometimes.
Oh yeah, so Joe taking a nap.
So everybody has their shortcomings, and you got to forgive yourself and move on, because, like we said previously, time doesn't stop for anybody. It doesn't rewind for anybody. So the time you're spending whining is time that you could be doing something else.
And the thing here's the thing, I think, when it comes to time, what you're really doing when you're building time is you're developing the necessary skill that it's going to take in order for you to get to the next level. We just assume that as long as I just do this, that it's going to work. You know, let's say you're wanting to run an ad for an upcoming campaign or something that you're trying to sell, and you start and you get into Facebook, and you get into Facebook Business Suite, and you realize, I don't really know what I'm doing. And then you run the ad and you spend a couple $100 and you're like, man, this isn't really converting. And then you're like, man, Facebook ads must not work for me. No, they do work. You just suck.
Yeah. You got to know how to operate within that system. And every system has its own rules.
These are skills that you have to learn in business. Everything. Us doing this podcast, we have to learn how to do a podcast by doing it, and then studying and preparing and doing all of these things. This stuff doesn't just happen, but you have to give yourself time in order to. We underestimate the amount of preparation it takes to be good at something that's going to give you the income that you want. Like
Yeah.
if you're wanting $1 million income, there is a certain skill that you need in your industry in order to do that. We just assume people just show up like, man, I just made $1 million. We don't realize how hard of a skill that they had to learn in order to do that.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's not necessary. It's time, but it's also focus time. Like I know we see a lot about like the 10,000 hour rule, right? That was something that we learned from
Malcolm
Outliers
Gladwell.
and Malcolm Gladwell. I think I heard something recently that he kind of recently, because you know what, I can't remember exactly when that book came out, but he actually said that with the tools that we have today, and the advancement of technology, that somebody can do that in a much shorter time because of because there's technology and there's other things that can really allow that to be shortened. So it's not simply just time for the sake of doing it, because somebody could say, yeah, I spent 10,000 hours on the piano, and you're just playing the same song every single time. Or you could be practicing basketball for 10,000 hours just doing a basic layup. Right? Like there has to be an advancement in what it is
Skill
that you're
development.
doing,
Yeah.
and you have to be willing to suck long enough to become good. You have to realize every single thing that you're going to do, you're going to suck at it when you first start. And you have to be okay with that and say, I'm going to continue doing this because I understand that in order for me to reach that financial goal, I have to learn this.
Yeah. You have to continue to be okay with what one book calls failing forward. One thing that I stress to my son and the team that I coach is, guys, we have to be okay with failing. Like failing will teach you a lot. So be okay with failing. Try the hard things in practice. Go 100% in practice. And guess what? If you go at a comfortable pace in practice and then you get in the game, the game's not going to allow you to go at your comfortable pace. You're going to get pressured. So the same in business. If you are operating from a standpoint where, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it how I want to do it. That's fine. But guess what? There's 10 other people that are going hard and that may not have as good a product as you have, but they're coming in front of potential buyers multiple times that those potential buyers got to say, man, it got to be good. I've been seeing this same ad. I've been hearing about this thing for the longest. And now they're gaining new customers by sheer grit, grind, and sweat equity because they're there over and over and over. And there's an aspect of that you have to respect, but being too conservative, which is something that I could be guilty of, being too conservative will hurt your ability to grow. You have to be okay with failing. And you have to be okay with being, there's another adage that says you don't have to be good to start, but you have to start to be good. Like just start out being terrible. And that's it. Yeah. Start out being terrible. And guess what? A lot of these things that we love, they're not the first iteration of that thing.
Right.
Uber is not the first iteration of ride shares. Right? If you drink Coca-Cola, they're not the first iteration of that soft drink. Right? And the same with computers, shoes, everything levels up over time, but somebody had to go out there with something that was terrible for somebody to say, oh man, I could make it better. Or somebody who did it said, hey, okay, I got some feedback. Now I can make that better. But yes, go out and suck.
I think a lot of it goes back to your personal purpose statement, your personal calling statement. That thing that really drives you that you're willing to go through these various levels in order to get there, right? So really digging into like what it is that what your gifting is, your background, the thing that you're not, that I feel like you have to have this realization, like you're called to do something, that you're called to bring something into the marketplace. You're called to bring something into, the world, because what we're talking about, it's going to be so easy to just say, to dismiss, the necessary things that you have to do, if you don't have something that you're like, no, I gotta get to this place and I'm willing to. And I think really searching that out and finding out, like, what exactly is it that I have to do? Because while we waste time, there's somebody out there that's not.
Yeah.
The time that you're licking your wounds, singing, crying, oh, woe is me, there is somebody out there that is putting in the work, and not just any work, the right type of work. And I think that's a huge part too. Like, what is, like, everything that you do with your time is not created equal.
Yeah.
Everything that you do with your time is not going to get you the same income or the same amount of production. So really figuring out that those things that you do with your
$5
time,
task, $2 task, $10 task, $20 task. You want to, once you have the $5 and $10 and the $20 to invest in your business, you want to outsource that so you can reclaim your time, so you could dedicate it to not just working in your business, but on your business, which is very difficult for people to conceptualize. And part of it is because part of the control is gone. Exactly. Part of the control is gone. And when the control is gone, then if you're a control freak, which a lot of entrepreneurs fall in that space, you have to have checks and balances that allow you to go to sleep at night to know, okay, this person has a list of deliverables and they have a time frame. And the time frame that they have to deliver it is well in advance of the time frame that I need it.
Yeah.
So if I need it by Thursday, I'm not going to put the deadline Thursday. I'll put the deadline Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you fall short on Tuesday, you're not going to hurt me, because I'm going to find a way for you to push you so you can get it to me on Wednesday so I could meet my deadline of Thursday.
Exactly.
But as part of, managing people and, setting the standard that, hey, I said Tuesday, it has to be in by Tuesday. If it's not in by Tuesday, there's some consequences that come along with that, because that hurts your business, because your customers, whoever it is that you're serving, are expecting something from you. And if you don't deliver it at the time that they expect it, that will set an expectation that you're not reliable. So yeah, those are a couple of things that I learned in outsourcing is, okay, let me outsource these tasks that are $10 an hour, $20 an hour tasks. And then how do I make sure that because I'm not doing it, that it still gets done in a timely manner? All right, let me set the deliverable date with a day or two between when I actually need it.